My influencer girlfriend cheated on me, so I exposed what she truly thought about the brand she worked with. Now she cries and begs me to delete everything. I met Barbara at a university party. Nothing glamorous or magical, just a house with too many people, loud music, and plastic cups everywhere. She was not famous yet. She had her Instagram account, yes, but nothing out of the ordinary. She was just starting to upload videos about makeup, skin tips, that sort of thing. I was never interested in that world, but there was something in the way she spoke, in how confident she seemed, that made you pay attention. We went out a couple of times after that. Coffees, short walks, nothing too deep, but we understood each other well. I was more reserved, more of a stay-at-home and watch something quiet person. She was the complete opposite, intense, spontaneous, always with her phone in her hand. At first it was fun, it got me out of my routine, but over time the differences began to appear. Barbara became obsessed with social media. Everything was content. If we ate something, photo. If we walked, story. If I said something to her that she found cute, she would record it without warning me. It bothered me. I told her several times. She would reply that it was part of her job, that if she did not show her life, people would leave, that it was not personal. The argument started there. She understood why I did not always want to appear. I understood why I could not enjoy a moment without a camera on me. We did not end up fighting hard, but the discomfort remained. And when she started getting more followers, more brands, more events, everything got worse. Sometimes she would stay up late talking to her team, as I told you. I said nothing, it was her job. The laughter, the jokes, the audios that could be heard from afar were part of the usual atmosphere at home. One of the names that came up most often was Marcelo, her manager. She mentioned him frequently. Marcelo this, Marcelo that. He had gotten her a new brand. He wanted to do a different photo shoot for her. He seemed important for what she did, so I had no reason to distrust him. Time passed. We lived together in my apartment, the one I paid for. She had no expenses. Everything she earned, she saved or invested in clothes, makeup, lights, trips, things she said she needed to maintain her image. I worked every day. I left early, came back late. She recorded from home or went to sets with her team. Sometimes she came back happy, with new ideas or loaded with boxes of products. Other times, she came back exhausted and shut herself in without talking much. We had our clashes. There were things we did not share, different ways of seeing life. I understood how she could be glued to her phone all day. She understood how I could stay quiet when something bothered me. Neither of us was willing to change completely, but we loved each other and got used to each other. And when that happens, you stop looking at what you should see. Something that had become a habit in recent months was that, when I was not at home, Barbara would write to me on WhatsApp to vent. She would talk to me about the brands she worked with, about how fed up she was with some collaborations. She would tell me that the products were horrible, that she did not understand how people bought them, and that the worst part was that they paid her badly. "This is garbage," she wrote to me one day, referring to a cream they had sent her. "And on top of that, they want me to feign excitement when I show it. They pay me pennies. It seems like they are mocking me." I only replied with something neutral. I did not want to argue. I would put, "I understand," or "it is unfair," not because I did not care, but because I knew that if I said anything else, we would end up fighting, and lately everything seemed to end like that. What started to seem strange to me was something else. For some time now, Barbara had been going out more often, but not with friends, not with the whole team. It was always with that Marcelo guy. She deserved to have creative meetings, that they were planning new campaigns, that they were going to scout locations or see ideas to create more visual, more cinematographic content. At first, I did not interfere. Marcelo was her manager. It made sense for them to work together. But over time, I noticed that the meetings were always just the two of them. She never mentioned the others on the team, not the editor, not the sound guy, not even Clara, her trusted makeup artist. One night, while we were having dinner, I asked her directly, "Why do you only meet with Marcelo lately?" I thought the team was made up of several people. She looked at me without looking up from her phone. "Because he is the one who organizes everything. The others just execute. I understand him better. It is faster, and I let him take care of it." After all, I did not argue, but the frequency with which she went out with him began to increase. Sometimes she would leave home at 6 in the evening and come back at midnight. Other times, she would tell me she was staying at Clara's house because they had an early session the next day and she preferred to save herself the trip. I would look at her, and she would hold my gaze. She would talk to me as if nothing were wrong, as if everything were under control. One afternoon, I found a box of lingerie in the closet. It was not for a collaboration. It was not marked. There was no contract. I asked her what it was for. She told me they had sent it to her for a campaign that had not come out yet, that it was confidential. I do not know if she lied to me at that moment, but I do know that she lied to me many times afterwards. The changes were subtle, but cumulative. She no longer asked for my opinion on her content. She no longer showed me her videos before uploading them. She no longer told me her ideas like before. And when she came back from those meetings with Marcelo, she did not talk much. She would go into the bathroom, stay longer than usual. She would say she was tired, that the day had been hard. The distance began to be noticeable in the details, in what we used to share and now did not, in what used to be ours and became hers alone. And I, without proof but with more and more reasons to distrust, began to look differently at everything I used to believe was normal. That night I did not sleep. Barbara had gone to bed early, saying that the next day she had to record early and did not want to have a swollen face. She closed her eyes without saying goodbye and turned over. I sat on the edge of the bed, my stomach churning. The phone vibrated. It was hers. Another message from Marcelo. I took it without thinking too much. I am not a jealous or insecure man, but that night I could not resist the urge to check what they were talking about. It was not locked. I just dragged my finger and it opened. I went straight to the WhatsApp chat with her supposed manager. The last lines were, "Did you get home okay?" he said. "I am thinking about last night," he added later. I did not need to go much further. As soon as I checked a little more in the history, the images appeared. Explicit photos, Barbara naked in a hotel room, in positions that were painfully familiar to me. In another, from behind, with her hair tied up, showing her body to the camera. And below, the messages, a memory for both of us. He would reply with emojis, with loaded phrases, with more photos of the bed where they had evidently been together. I stared at the screen without blinking. My heart was pounding in my chest. I wanted to drop the phone, but I could not. Instead, I continued. There were audios. In one, she told him, laughing, that I almost caught them, that I asked her why she came home so late, and that she had to make up that she was editing videos with her team. He would mock her, telling her she was a good actress, and she would reply that doing theater in high school had to be good for something. I also found the dirtiest detail. Conversations where he made money transfers to her, and she thanked him with more images. Everything disguised as work, but with an intimacy that turned my stomach. In one of the messages, she told him, "The poor guy still thinks I go out to record makeup tutorials, when in reality you are undressing me in bed." I went to the bathroom with the phone in my hand. I closed the door. I did not want to make any noise. I leaned against the wall and slid down to the floor. I read everything again. I saw every image. I listened to every audio. And I cried, but with rage, with humiliation, with anger for having shared so much with someone who saw me as an idiot, who played at having a relationship while sleeping with whoever transferred money to her phone, who smiled in photos with me for social media, while privately saying I was a nuisance. The pain was not just from the cheating, but from the way, from the coldness, from how easily she lied to my face, from having turned our relationship into a screen show while living another reality in secret. That night, I did not sleep, neither from rage nor from sadness. It was as if my head could not process what I had just seen, the images, the phrases, the videos. Everything was spinning in my head over and over again. Barbara, the woman who said she loved me, the one who spoke in front of a camera about self-esteem and values, sleeping with the guy who was in charge of getting her collaborations, the same one she laughed with when she spoke ill of the brands that hired her, the same one she sent naked photos to from the bed we shared. I did not think much about it. There was no room for doubt or analysis. I was not going to be the guy who endured in silence, not after that betrayal. The next day, at 9 in the morning, I got up, showered, sat down at my desk, and started preparing everything. Barbara had left an hour earlier for work. I had screenshots, many, conversations in which she spoke horribly of products she later promoted in her videos as if they were miracles. Messages where she complained about the payment. For that pittance I would not get out of bed, but I have to maintain the image. Private conversations between her and me where she vented without a filter, despising brands, criticizing other influencers, making fun of her own followers. And I also had the videos, since I had transferred them to my phone. The ones she sent to Marcelo, the ones they recorded together in hotels. They had names, dates, places. I did not need to invent anything, just show. It was 10 in the morning when I opened my Instagram. Since Barbara occasionally uploaded photos with me, some people had started following me. I was not famous, but there were those who knew me as Barbara's boyfriend. That detail changed everything. So, I decided to unmask everything. The first story I uploaded was direct. Do you want to know the truth about what you see on social media? Let's begin. In less than 10 minutes, I already had more views than usual. And then I released the second one. A screenshot, a WhatsApp conversation where she said, "These lipsticks are garbage, but they paid me to upload the video today." It has a filter, obviously. Seconds later, another story with a photo from that same day on her profile, using the lipstick in a reel, saying, "I am obsessed with this color. It is my favorite of the month." Without pausing, I continued uploading evidence. Conversations with Marcelo where they agreed to meet at the hotel, in secret, photos of both of them together in bed, audios of her asking him not to mark her because I would notice a hickey on her neck. All of that, her life, in dry stories, without emotion, just the truth. The messages started pouring in immediately. Friends, acquaintances, even people I did not know were writing to me. Screenshots of my stories began to circulate. Some accounts of other creators who deal with the subject shared them. Other larger ones began to ask if it was real. I did not answer anyone. I did not need to justify myself. At 11:30, my phone was already ringing. Barbara, 10 times in a row. Then, her sister. Then Marcelo. All ignored. Then, I uploaded the last video of the day, the strongest one. A 9-second clip where she, completely naked, laughs while Marcelo records her from the bed. It was not explicit in the video, but it was obvious she was naked. Her voice is heard saying, "Careful, this cannot be leaked because they will kill me. I already have enough with my stupid boyfriend believing I am working." That video broke everything. In minutes, her name was trending locally. The comments on her account were filled with insults. Many defended her at first, believing it was a setup, but the evidence was so clear that even her most loyal followers began to fall silent. Around 2 in the afternoon, Barbara called again. I did not answer. Then, she sent long, desperate messages. "What are you doing? You are ruining my life. Delete everything, please." I did not answer any of them. At 3, I uploaded one last story. A black background and white text, and signed, "All masks fall, although sometimes you have to help them with a push." I turned off my phone and closed my laptop. The air hit me differently, as if the world were more real after everything that had exploded. Barbara, that perfect influencer everyone adored, had shown her true face. They knocked on the door at 6:30 in the evening. It was not a casual ring or a soft knock. It was insistent, desperate. I did not need to look through the peephole to know who it was. I opened it. Barbara was wearing large sunglasses, but as soon as she entered the apartment, she took them off. Her eyes were swollen, her makeup smudged. She was wearing the same clothes she wore in one of the stories she had uploaded a few weeks ago, but this time there were no lights, no filters, no poses. Just her, destroyed, carrying a canvas bag slung over her shoulder. "We need to talk," she said, her voice breaking. "How could you do this to me? How could you expose me like that?" I laughed, not mockingly, but because of her audacity. "Are you seriously asking me that? After sleeping with your manager, lying to my face, recording yourself with him in hotels while I waited for you here, believing you were working." Barbara angrily took off her bag and threw it on the floor. "You do not understand anything. You do not know the pressure I was under. The brands, the followers, the numbers. Marcelo, he was a trap. He listened to me. He understood me. I was alone. You just worked and ignored me. I supported you." I cut her off. "I worked so you could record from bed while talking crap about the same brands that paid you. And now you come looking for justifications." She approached, as if she were going to touch me, but I took a step back. "Please, do not upload anymore. Take it all down. Brands are asking. Tell them it was a mistake, that it was an attack from you, that you forgave me. We can fix this, really. You and I. It does not have to end like this." I did not answer immediately. I walked to the door, opened it, and stood to one side. "Get out." "What? Get out now?" Grab your bag and get out of my life. I never want to see you again. I do not forgive you. I am not going to help you. Do not look for me. Do not write to me. And if you dare to mention me on any social media, I will release everything I have left." She stood motionless, as if she could not believe I was serious. But seeing me without a single emotion on my face, she understood. She grabbed her bag from the floor, slung it over her shoulder with trembling hands, and without saying another word, walked out the door. I closed it firmly behind her. It was not relief I felt. It was emptiness, a thick silence that brought no peace, but certainty. 3 days later, one of the cameramen who worked on her team wrote to me. We were never friends, but we met several times on shoots and at events. He sent me a short message. "I do not know if you are interested or not, but many brands are dropping her. Some have already canceled contracts." The video and screenshots reached everyone. They are even using your stories as justification to break clauses. No one wants to be linked to her image now. He also told me that Marcelo had been fired from his agency, that the leak had affected him as well, that some videos had reached entertainment news channels and were beginning to circulate with disguised names, but everyone knew who they were referring to. Barbara went from respected influencer to a laughingstock in less than a week. Her image, carefully constructed with makeup and prefabricated phrases, collapsed. She was no longer useful for selling self-esteem or beauty brands. No one wanted an ambassador for products she had said were just poorly packaged Chinese garbage. The biggest irony of all this is that I did not have to invent absolutely anything. I did not need to create a lie, or exaggerate, or distort the facts. I did not write anything she had not written. I did not show anything she had not recorded with her own hands, with her own body, in her own voice. I just released what already existed, what she hid behind every rehearsed smile on camera, behind every perfect story edited for Instagram, what she herself had said, recorded, and hidden. Do I regret it? No. And I say this with all the calmness in the world. I acted out of anger. Yes, of course, out of pain too, but it was not impulsive or excessive. It was not empty revenge. It was a direct, proportional, and above all, deserved response. I knew that what I was doing would have consequences. I also knew that it would make me look like the jilted ex or the one who could not lose. But at this point, what does it matter how others see you, if you know what you lived through? I slept peacefully that night, not because I felt proud, but because, for the first time in a long time, I had nothing to hide. I freed myself from her world, from the idea that I had to endure everything for love or for habit, because that was what opened my eyes, realizing that for a long time I had been living in a relationship that was not good for me, with a person who no longer respected herself, much less me. And in the end, I understood. Sometimes, the best revenge is not to invent anything, not to lower yourself or sink with the other person. It is simply to let the truth speak.